What's going on, y'all? Machiavelli Mills TV. Y'all hit that like button and hit the subscribe button. So, about a week ago, and I never made a video on this topic, but I want to address it today. About a week ago, Shaquille O'Neal was on Inside the NBA. Inside the NBA, y'all know the famous post-game and pre-game show that's on TNT. This day, Shaq was on there with the B team. Candace Parker, Vince Carter, etc. And he was giving praise to the Detroit Pistons team. He was talking about the development of Cade Cunningham, and he attributed the Pistons' recent success in Cade Cunningham's development to Chauncey Billups doing a good job over there. He attributed the Detroit Pistons and Cade Cunningham's development and their success, he attributed that to Chauncey Billups doing a great job over there. And the reason why this is a problem is that Chauncey Billups, he does not coach the Detroit Pistons at all. In fact, he's been coaching the Portland Trail Blazers since 2021, y'all. Since 2021, he's been over in Portland for 4 years already, right? And Shaq thinks that Chauncey Billups is the head coach for the Detroit Pistons. The Detroit Pistons head coach is J.B. Bickerstaff, son of the legendary Bernie Bickerstaff. So it's like, bro, what the hell? And they corrected him on TV, like, huh? Then he goes, I don't watch Detroit, I ain't watch. Like, so here's the problem. So, again, inside the NBA, yes, it's about basketball analysis, but it's also about entertainment. You have to be entertaining to be on TV. And yes, they are entertaining, but the problem is that a lot of people have with Inside the NBA is that a lot of the times, Chuck and Shaq, they don't be watching the games for real. Like, Ernie watched the games. Like, he know everything. Ernie watches the games. And Kenny watches the games a little bit more than Shaq and Chuck. But they don't be watching the games. A lot of times, they don't even know how teams are doing. They don't know what players are playing. Like, they might say a player not playing well this year, and they are playing well. They've made great strides in their career this season, and Shaq and Chuck know nothing about it. You know what I mean? And so at that point, it's like, okay, yes, y'all are entertaining, but we have to have some actual basketball insight, some actual knowledge about the game, like what's going on currently. And that can be a problem. I can tell y'all this, man. When I was in elementary school, I knew just about every head coach. I knew nearly every head coach of every basketball team. Now, the head coach turnover rate wasn't as high as it is now. But I knew just about every coach for real. Because, especially before social media, I sat in front of the TV and watched basketball all the time. And it's their job to watch the games. And if Chuck and Shaq and them don't know who coaching the teams, they not watching the games for real. And these are individuals who are well opinionated about today's game. Shaq and Chuck will talk about the game being soft, these boys not being as good as back in the day, so on and so forth. They will do all of that, and people will latch on to their every word about it. A lot of analysts like PK Subban and them, they will attach themselves to Charles Barkley and Shaq's rhetoric about the NBA not being good and being soft, so on and so forth. And if you're going to say the NBA is not good, if you're going to say it's trash, it's soft, and they haven't specifically said it's trash, I want to say that, but they have criticized today's game. If you're going to staunchly criticize today's game, you better be watching these damn games, especially when it's your job. Especially when it's your job. Because I know the Pistons have played on TNT before this season. Like, they at least played on TNT this season on television. You know what I mean? And if you don't keep up with these games, even the people that's not on the TV, they really only watch the games that's aired on TNT. They got to know that, like, that's not what their job title is supposed to be. I'm sure it's not. I haven't seen their contract, but I know they're supposed to be knowing more about just the teams they show on TNT. You know what I mean? So even if Detroit ain't been on TNT that much, you're supposed to know. He think Chauncey Billups, what the fuck? He think Chauncey the coach over there? Like, when did you ever think that? When did that ever come across your radar that Chauncey Billups was the head coach over there? And I love the Big Diesel. As a player, at least, you know what I'm saying? As a player, I was a big Shaq fan. Now, off the court, Shaq has said he's been hard shoeing at times. He's turned soft shoe and hard shoe at times. I can't get down with that. But I loved him as a player. But let's be for real, though. Y'all know what hard shoeing and soft shoeing I'm talking about. comes in the form of an animal called a raccoon. But anyway, let's go on and move past that for YouTube try to demonetize me. You know what I mean? Because they didn't try to. They be getting a little slick with it sometimes. But anyway, yeah. If you're going to criticize the game, you better be watching these games. That's like when PK Subban was trashing the NBA and said, I ain't watched the NBA since like 2016, I ain't watched it. Okay, well, how can you have this opinion if you don't watch the game? I bet you PK Subban don't know who the fuck Cade Cunningham is. I bet you he don't. I'm more than positive he don't. So that's the problem. Everybody has these critiques of the NBA in today's game, and nobody is really watching the games. Like, well, we ain't watching it for a reason. No, you cannot critique something without watching it. I can't sit here and say baseball boring and I ain't watching no baseball game. I can't sit here and say the NFL is soft and I ain't watching no NFL. I can't sit here and say all the quarterbacks get every call and I ain't watched the game myself. You can't go off what this person is saying. My mama used to always tell me this. You got to experience things for yourself. When I was coming out of college, and I remember I was getting ready to go to grad school at Arkansas State. And one of the professors at Mississippi Valley State told me, don't go to Arkansas State. They don't really like kids from HBCUs there. And I remember what my mama told me. You got to experience stuff for yourself. She had a bad experience with somebody that she knew there. That may not necessarily be the case. You got an opportunity to go to Arkansas State, get a great experience. You got an opportunity to be living in your own apartment as part of graduate housing where you don't have to pay rent. It comes with a cable and internet already attached to it, and the on-campus the apartment is on campus. Go check it out yourself. I went there, had the time of my life. Had an amazing time, right? So I had to experience that for myself. I couldn't listen to hearsay, what this person say, what that person say. So yeah, like, and people attach themselves to the rhetoric of Shaq and Charles. You know, Shaq and Charles Barkley. But how can they say that if they not watching the games? How can they say that if they're not watching them games, man? Seriously. You know what I mean? You not sitting in there watching them games yourself. Oh, this NBA trash, garbage. You don't even know who coaching. You're not watching this shit. You don't even know who coaching the teams. And don't give me that when these teams bad. So, man, fuck out of here with all that shit. Y'all know who the fuck coaching a lot of other teams that's terrible in other sports. And I guarantee, like, come on, man. No, man. No, we ain't doing that. Especially when it's your job to do that. That's why it's a problem that he don't know who's coaching these teams. He don't know that Chauncey Billups coached the Portland Trail Blazers. It's a problem because he's one of the people that will critique the game. And then you're not watching it. You're not watching it. And then people will act like what Shaq and Charles say is law because they are Hall of Fame, all-time great NBA players. But again, all-time great Hall of Famers can be wrong about things because they're not really watching the product. And you cannot judge something if you're not watching the product. You can't judge it. You know what I'm saying? I can't sit here and tell y'all the food at Steak 48, the food at Kitchen and Cocktails, whatever these restaurants. I can't tell you that the food at I don't know, whatever high-end restaurant or whatever. I can't tell you the food is trash there if I'm not going and experiencing it myself. How can I run with that narrative? You know what I mean? The people that's giving their damn review, they ain't even been to the restaurant. They heard it from another motherfucker say that. You know? So that's why it's a big deal that Shaq didn't know that J.B. Bickerstaff is the head coach of the Detroit Pistons. You know what I mean? Because he's one of them individuals. And that's why inside the NBA gets a lot of critique. Because they say, man, they don't be watching these games. They just say things that are funny and hilarious. They crack jokes that make people laugh. But they're not giving no basketball insight because they don't know what the hell is. They don't know who play for who. That's why they turn it into a segment, who he play for. Now, again, you're not going to know everybody that play for everybody. A lot of these role players you're not going to know. But it's almost like a joke on them not really knowing who the hell we playing for these teams. Now, I'm not expecting you to know the 15, 14, 13 man at the end of the bench, of course. But you can know the 6 man and the 7 player on the roster. You know, especially when it's your job to know that. Your 6 man, 7 man on the roster. I knew them dudes. You're not watching the game. You know, all right, who on the bench for the coming right? Who next up off the bench for the Spurs? Who next up off the bench for the Miami Heat? for the Chicago Bulls? Who next up off the bench for the New York Knicks? Who next off the bench for the LA Lakers? Who next off the bench for the even the Memphis Grizzlies? You know what I mean? Especially when they had Tony Allen and Zebo and Mike Conley. You know what I mean? When they had that squad like that, you know? So, yeah. Charles and them need to be watching the games, and Shaq and them need to be watching the games too, especially if they're going to be so opinionated and trashing today's era of basketball. You got to show me you watching the game for real. You not watching, you think Chauncey on it. You ain't never seen Chauncey on that motherfucking sideline head coaching them boys at all. So, yeah, that is an issue, you know? But what do I know? I'm just a YouTuber that watch sports. Machiavelli Mills TV, y'all hit the like button and hit the subscribe button as well. I'm out, y'all. Peace.